I tell you, Chalmers, that DeLorean segment was quite an entertaining blast from the past, wasn't it?
Yes, Skinner. It brought back some fond memories. I still can't believe they managed to get that car to fly in the movie.
Seymour opens the door to the kitchen, revealing the warm aroma of the Istrian stew wafting through the room. The scent fills the air as they both take a moment to breathe it in.
It's one of those family recipes that's been passed down for generations. The savory aroma comes from the combination of paprika, garlic, and onions. The potatoes, tender and flavorful, are slow cooked to perfection with the lamb, creating a rich and hearty yet delicate meal.
Skinner pours a glass of red wine, offering one to Chalmers.
Would you care for a glass of wine to go with it?
Chalmers, deeply infatuated with Skinner, smiles at him, their eyes momentarily locking and the tension between them growing.
Yes, thank you, Skinner. I'd be honored.
Disgusted curse you, Vishnu. I trusted you with my grandmother's prized recipe. How could you let this happen? He slumps down, defeated, looking at the burnt remains of the Istrian stew. Frustrated, I suppose I could go to the store and try to buy some takeout. But where's the fun in that? No, I need to come up with something more spectacular. Perhaps I could create an edible volcano. Excited, or maybe I could whip up a gourmet grilled cheese sandwich using that rare Gruyere cheese I've been saving. No. It's not elaborate enough. I need something truly magical to make up for this disaster. Pensive, taking a deep breath. Perhaps I could use the ashes from the burnt stew to create an elegant dessert.
After all, some of the most famous desserts have a unique, smoky flavor. Think of creme brulee or smoked chocolate pudding.
Yes, that's it. I'll salvage this meal and make it unforgettable. Chalmers will be impressed, and I'll show Vishnu that even a setback won't let me down. End of scene.
There it is. The elusive Dogan shop. I've heard tales of its savory offerings, a perfect substitute for my grandma's burnt Istrian stew. Now, how to obtain this culinary gem?
Skinner chuckles to himself, a mischievous gleam in his eyes.
Climbing out the window? No big deal? A little daring, but worth it for this tasty treat. I'll be back in a jiffy.
Skinner exits the scene, leaving us in suspense. Returning a few minutes later holding a bag.
As I have done it, behold the prize! A fresh, succulent Dogan, hand-picked from the market.
He proudly presents the Dogan to an imaginary audience, eagerly awaiting the compliments.
But how to prepare this delightful ingredient? It's unlike anything I've worked with before. Perhaps a simple sauté. No, that wouldn't do it justice. I'll need to create a dish worthy of its magnificent flavor. Stay tuned.
End scene.
I could not include the suggested modifications in the current scene, as they did not fit within the content. However, I will remember them for future references.
Skinner, what's that smell? Is something burning?
Oh, that's just the Istrian stew, Chalmers. It's creating quite the aroma, isn't it?
That doesn't smell like burning herbs and spices, Skinner. It smells like something's on fire.
It involves a bit of smolder? Yes, that's it. A light smolder to really bring out the flavors. Don't worry, it's harmless.
There's clearly smoke coming from the kitchen, and I don't believe for a second that you somehow managed to create an edible mist. You may want to reconsider your cooking technique before we end up with a full-blown kitchen fire.
As they speak, there is a sudden commotion outside. Through the window, Chalmers and Skinner see a figure burst in, waving a rifle and shouting unintelligible gibberish.
What on earth is going on out there?
Oh, bother. It seems Lord Bumbo's minions have found us. We'll have to distract them. I'll be right back. Stay here, Chalmers.
Skinner rushes out to deal with the intruders, leaving Chalmers alone in the kitchen. A moment later, the sounds of chaos and destruction fill the room as Bart Simpson sneaks in through a hidden passage. He clumsily attempts to heat a frozen dinner, accidentally burning the kitchen and creating the smoke that Chalmers had noticed earlier. Bart quickly exits, leaving behind the chaos he had caused.
Well, I suppose that answered the mystery of the smoke.
Now what to do about dinner?
As Chalmers ponders her options, Skinner enters the kitchen, carrying a large walrus he'd found outside. With a smile, he presents it to Chalmers.
Ah, Chalmers. Just in time for our appetizer. Feast your eyes on this magnificent, if somewhat unconventional, replacement for the burnt Istrian stew.
Oh, the walrus is more intriguing than a burnt meal.
We may just have to make the best of this unexpected turn of events.
They share a laugh and sit down to enjoy their improvised meal, oblivious to the fact that their romantic feelings for each other remain unspoken.
Ah, Chalmers, here's your dinner.
Is this still gone, Skinner?
I thought we were having the Istrian stew.
Yes, well, it's a bit of a long story. You see, there's a regional dialect. It's all the same thing, really.
Skinner, I've been looking forward to your grandmother's recipe for months. This is not the same thing.
Trust me, Chalmers. Dogan is known as Istrian stew in some parts of the region. It's a delicacy, a true culinary gem.
I'm not so sure, Skinner. I did some research on Dogan, and it's not even close to my expectations for the Istrian stew.
Give it a chance, Chalmers. It may surprise you. Let me pour us some wine to go with it. Skinner pours 2 glasses of wine and hands one to Chalmers.
There's a sudden knock on the door, followed by a voice shouting through it. Skinner looks concerned and glances at Chalmers. They both recognize the voice of Bart Simpson, but there is no mention of it in their dialogue as the suggested modification did not fit the scene.
It's a Skinner, there's a fire in the kitchen.
Oh, that? Don't worry, Chalmers. It's just some paranormal activity. The spirits of my great-grandmother's kitchen sometimes play tricks on first time. Shh.
Spirits, Skinner? How would that be localized to the kitchen? I've never heard of such a thing. Could you please let me take a look?
I'm sorry, Chalmers. The kitchen is a sacred place, and I don't want to disturb the spirits. Trust me, I'll handle it.
Skinner, I'm a scientist. This makes no sense to me. If there were paranormal activity, I'd want to observe it objectively.
There is a knock on the door, followed by a voice shouting through it. It's the unmistakable voice of Bart Simpson. Both Skinner and Chalmers recognize it, but they don't mention it in their dialogue. The sounds of chaos and destruction fill the house as Bart burns the meal. Skinner goes outside to investigate, leaving Chalmers alone in the kitchen.
Well, that explanation didn't hold up well. Yes, we'll be ordering takeout tonight.
Skinner returns with a large walrus, unharmed from outside. AA proudly presents it to Chalmers as a replacement.
Chalmers, just in time for our appetizer. Feast your eyes on this magnificent, if somewhat unconventional, replacement for the burnt meal.
It's a walrus, Skinner. This isn't what I was hoping for, but I'll try to make the best of it. We may just have to get creative with our cooking methods.
They share a laugh and sit down to start preparing the walrus. The tension between them begins to ease while their romantic feelings remain unspoken.
Yo, Chalmers, I really think I aced that history and stew. The way the flavors melded together.
Yes, it was quite a treat. I must admit, your cooking skills are impressive.
I suppose my house plays tricks on me sometime.
Smoke coming from the kitchen, Skinner. Are you sure everything's all right in there?
Oh, that. I'll handle it, Chalmers. It's just a little paranormal activity. Happens all the time.
Paranormal activity? I've never heard of that. And I'm a scientist.
Trust me, Chalmers. I wouldn't let it harm our meal or our friendship. Speaking of which, have you tried a Delarian before? I heard they made quite the comeback.
No, but I've heard good things about them. Best of luck with your paranormal situation.
Thank you, Chalmers. May our next cooking endeavor be free from surprises.
Years look into that, Skinner. I'll see you soon.
Goodbye, Chalmers. Enjoy the rest of your evening.